Hollywood is constantly surrounding itself with reboots, remakes, whatever way you want to call it. They've just been sucking for a while now. Hollywood just always seems to not get the essence of the original film or TV series. When Power Rangers was announced as a remake, I was scared. So many factors are needed to make this movie work. The good thing that I could say is that they pulled off a decent film. The major issue with remakes is that everyone has a different definition to what the word means. For me, the core essence of the universe, characters, style must be respected, but for you it may mean something different. Some people just want 100% identical, word-to-word copy of the original, or others want it to be completely different. Then you have to think about older properties and how do you fit them into present time. That's a very difficult balance for any show or film. MMPR has so many things you have to capture in order to be a Power Rangers movie, but you can't do certain things that the old show got away with. When the cast was first revealed, frankly, I was annoyed. I've been pissed off at too many remakes, so when I saw that they flopped things around like Zach was Asian but Trini wasn't, this means certain personality traits that I love from MMPR can't be done. Zach isn't a dancer and Trini can't be Billy's translator. However, I didn't write off the movie from just cast changes. The rest of the personalities of the characters are intact. While Jason was a football player in the film, he's still Jason, the leader of the team, the guy that balances 4 other lives in his hands, no matter how crazy it looks. Zach has his hyperactive, bigger-than-life personality. He's the second command like the original. Billy, different in some ways, the same in many others. He's still the go-to guy for getting the team out of jams, and is awkward around people. Trini is the most changed, but the original character's key traits of being fun, strong-willed, and take charge are all there. Kim too. She's the Valley Girl, but the Valley Girl of today. Over time, I think you'd like these versions of them. The characters are placed in the real world. None of the show's happy look towards school life is here. Everyone has personal issues and has to deal with problems. None of them are perfect. They all end up in detention for doing stupid things. One thing missing in the film is Bulk and Skull. I was annoyed at this like everyone else, but there's a good reason why they're not in the film. The bullies that are used to bother Kim and Billy are really horrible. They're asses. If Bulk and Skull were done here for these roles, we would have hated them and they would have been ruined as characters. The main part of the film takes the rest of the MMPR mythos and expands on it. And everything that we saw and wondered about in MMPR is used in the film. What happened between Zordon and Rita? We see that Zordon used to be the Red Ranger and failed his team. Rita used to be the Green Ranger, wanted more power and killed everyone to find the Zeo Crystal. Alpha 5 is still the trusted robot that helps Zordon, keeps his snarkly attitude from Day of the Dumpster, and has to warm up to the team. The command center itself is very different from the TV show, but everything is still there. Instead of consoles, the Rangers interface with standing platforms. The viewing globe is a holographic projection in the center, which gives access to the morphing grid. Every now and again, the projector gets around shape in scenes. These little nods and references are welcomed. There's many in the film. You get to see in Trini's room a saber-toothed tiger on her window, and a putty figurine, a Finster figure, and a few others are in Billy's basement too. While Zordon is flawed and selfish in this film, he's still the father figure of the team, right down to him being trapped in the ship's computer after his physical body was burnt up, to him saying his famous rule to the Rangers. There are many great moments that parallel in the movie right from the TV show. My favorite being the brief moment when Jason hangs behind and listens to Zordon. Other staples from the show are more ambiguous. Teleporting is not directly seen, it's implied. The power coins always follow the Rangers around regardless if they lead them anywhere. And when the team was killed in the train crash, if you look closely, no one was inside the car. One of the things you're probably wondering about, is the movie just dark and teen angst? No, the goofy nature of MMPR is still here. The corniness of the series with how everything is named is tongue-in-cheek. They poke fun at it. They even joke on all the stuff people would compare the movie to. In the Megazord fight, they throw in a Transformers joke. Billy mentions Iron Man a lot. Now, Rita is much different than how she was played in the show, but not really. While the movie makes her insane and more gruesome, like seeing her kill people and other stuff just to get a hold of gold, she still acts correctly. She's pompous, egotistical, demeaning, creepy, and sick. All these things are present in the series, just not at this level. So sometimes you think it's not the same Rita, but just picture the show if it was rated PG-13. She even torments the Rangers personally by spying on them and fishing for info. Oh, and if you were expecting people to talk like the series does, where everyone censors the word die with destroy, look somewhere else. People are dying left and right, and everyone is swearing. The movie earns that PG-13 rating. The look of the movie is extremely different from the show. A lot of things I'm neutral on. They went in a more organic direction from Zordon's ship, the suits, the Zords, and even Rita. I was never expecting them to use spandex or cone boobs. Everything is done in an exoskeleton bug-like body armor look. The Ranger suits are one piece, so think Jungle Fury. The helmets are the closest things to the show. They keep the visor shapes and the gray lips. They also have the ability to remove the mask, Ninja Storm style. What's not good on them is that the helmets all look mostly the same. Bird-like, and not enough of the Zord shape is visible. You can only tell them apart by their colors and voices. The body itself is the most changed. The only things that are similar is the soul diamond shape in the center, which pulsates with the power of the morphing grid, plus the power morpher is in the same spot. But for some things, like the blade blaster, it doesn't exist. The Zords are a hit and a miss. They're the same animals, but functions and features are different or not there. Triceratops doesn't have his tail cannons. Sabretooth has head-mounted cannons. T-Rex and Mastodon have cannons too. Annoyingly, there's no tank mode formation, and everyone transforms in completely different ways. There's no central cockpit. Everyone is in their solo cockpit spread across the Megazord. I still don't understand why the Mastodon looks like a spider. I remember reading one of the designer's comments. He said it was for the Mastodon to keep up with everyone. It looked like with just 4 legs, it wouldn't run fast enough. My question? Why are you worried about real-life physics in this movie? I can pull that too. The pterodactyl couldn't fly at such low speeds to keep at the same pace as the Landzords, for example. Mastodon looks stupid as a spider. There's no excuse. I'm indifferent to the designs. I won't buy the Megazord toy, but I don't hate it. It looks better in motion than in photos. Zordon was the best thing to come out of the film. How do you translate a talking head? The head becomes the room. Instead of the starfield that the show did, Zordon covers the forward wall in this pin-like metal. He can shift around and look directly at who's talking. This is my favorite effect from the film. No covering up of lips, and Bryan Cranston does an excellent job as the character. He matches what David Fielding and Bob Manahan gave to us and what fans wanted out of the character, plus much more. Alpha 5, no, that's one thing I hate from the film. Bill Hader does a great job with the comedy and capturing Alpha, but that look was horrible. It tries to keep the elements of original Alpha, but it looks like they threw them on there just because they were forced to. He has a round dish head because original Alpha did, so they put these eyes that stick out. That's the worst thing about him. I get where that's coming from. Eyes are what give characters emotions, but they're so stupid and annoying. I never even pay attention to them. He's fat and really small. He doesn't even look like a robot. Everyone says he is, but he's just generic gray alien looking. Rita Repulsa, her design was good. If you were expecting them to copy the show, I'm sorry, that was never going to happen. It was a good idea that they made her the Green Ranger. It makes sense. You have a power coin but never use it yourself. I never bought that. Her Green Ranger outfit is still from the Green Ranger powers, just perverted to evil. Her staff is pretty much the same shape as the original. It's just made out of gold because the film made her obsessed with getting gold for Goldar. Her outfit is almost like a cat too. She has like these claws and these weird mannerisms that make her act like a cat, which could be the reason why she picks on the Yellow Rangers so much. For the movie itself, it's an origin story. It gives all 5 characters a time. We get to know how each one ticks. It uses surprisingly a lot of Day of the Dumpster material. Elements from Dino Thunder sneak into here too. And it shows you the evolution of how 5 people that hate each other eventually coming together to stop Rita. The story keeps everything grounded. While we have all the elements from PR, people respond to them like they really would. Some of the Rangers are like, this is BS, I don't buy any of this. Billy loves it, and other times they want to get away from it. Jason and the others slowly open up to each other, telling their personal reasons and feelings during a campfire scene. This was the best character moment in the movie. Billy has this problem, Zach has another. They don't really want to talk about it, and they don't shy away from what teenagers would do. Trini's drinking a beer in order for her to just open up a little. The movie does many subtle things, and it will throw you off at first because you expect what you remember from the show. I think the movie got the correct tone. The campiness of the series with a more natural use of real life. Now, what about the cameos? There was actually 2 cameos. One was cut for time, but it was included in the deleted scenes. The second one was much better anyway. The first one was just a simple reaction and would have wasted them. The second one was quick and simple. It did its job. We got to see Amy Jo and Jason Frank in the crowd taking photos of the Megazord. They don't need lines. They don't need to be the mother of Kim and Tommy. If they did that in the film, it would have been way too distracting in the movie. If the movie gets more sequels, I'd like to see this done again. Have like Walter Jones and David Yost go into a store or something. The movie does have problems that I didn't like. I already listed the Mastodon having spider legs and Alpha looking horrible, but I don't care for the command center being a spaceship. This has been done in a lot of remakes. Everything has to be different no matter what. Man of Steel did it. I didn't like it there either. I think it being a ship was unnecessary. We get one single shot of it flying around and the rest of it being stuck in a wall underground. It should have just been a building. I love the interior with its vast platforms and transforming rooms, which I hope they use in a sequel to make the ship into a building. It's just odd because Zordon and Alpha adapt the local creatures on Earth into their arsenal. But that means you gotta get the ship into the atmosphere to deploy them. Only the pterodactyl would work in space. It might as well be a building at this point, unless they can teleport the Zords to the surface Star Trek style. Goldar's design was pretty crummy too. They took his name literally, so Rita now has this obsession with gold. She eats it, makes her staff from it. His overall look was eh. He has his wings, but that's it. He doesn't even talk, just a mindless monster. I guess the good thing is that he could be recreated if needed in another movie, but that's about it. I can't forgive the movie for this one. The Rangers have no power morpher. They use nothing. I get it. It's a big moment in the command center when they finally morphed, and Jason did say it's morphin' time, but it wasn't there. The suit just comes on from will. The coins were featured everywhere, but that doesn't excuse it. It just doesn't feel right. PR has a morpher, period. It's something you have to do. I would have been okay if Zordon gave the morpher to Jason at the end of the film, or if they appeared as the suit started forming, then just transferred to the belt area. If they get a sequel, it better be in the movie at least once. Next, Trini's brothers couldn't tell Yellow Ranger was a man or a woman. I don't understand how that happens in the day and age of HD and smartphones. There were tons of people taking photos. There's probably news footage of the Rangers, and you can't tell that Yellow has a pair of breasts? Jason's dad even pins an article on his fridge at the end that has a Yellow Ranger in profile. It's stupid. And I know it was only there to poke fun at the gender change between MMPR and Jew Ranger. It's something that annoyed me. Some people were even complaining that they shouldn't have had their visors open in the cockpits. They were on with, everyone's gonna see them, while these people can't even see a pair of boobs in hundreds of photos. The Zords were too small. It was obvious that the Zords were a lot smaller than the TV show. The bonus features even point this out. They had to scale them down in order to fit them in the streets of Angel Grove. I thought that was kind of pointless. What happens in a future sequel if they have to go into a city? They'll look tiny compared to skyscrapers, and they'll have to fudge it again. They should have just did it at proper scale from the start. No one pays attention to when the power coins make everything explode in the lunchroom. The same thing happened in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Hundreds of people and no one sees Parker shoot webbing out of his arm. No one notices these glowing cookies and teens totally not reacting towards all the stuff exploding. Why did the coins do that anyway? Jason is the only Ranger that has his personal weapon. Not only are the blade blasters missing, the power axe, bow, daggers, and lance are all not here either. I don't know why this happened. It's really weird. These are staples of the show. All I could think of is that they're being saved for the sequel so that the teens have something to unlock. You know, more toy sales, which isn't a good idea. If we don't get a sequel, we'll never see them. Weapons have not had good luck when it comes to PR movies. Up to this point, the complaints have been nitpicky and just dumb issues. But I have a few problems with the main story. Rita knowing certain things and not other things, it didn't make much sense. The movie implies that she's using the morphing grid in order to get basic info from the Rangers. But she gets pretty good detail on Trini and a few other things. She knows where she lives, she knows that everyone gets her name wrong, but she can't figure out where the Zeo crystal is. I couldn't buy the whole using the grid to get info. It was too convenient for her not to get the info she needed. The whole point of the movie is that the Rangers are weak when not working together. Second, Zordon should have told them this type of risk. Don't think of important things. The morphing grid acts like a psychic link. Rita might be able to figure things out. My head logic is that she was spying on the Rangers physically at some point as she went around the town getting gold. This is what the TV show did all the time. Rita was a voyeur. I just say, as she walked around the city, she saw the news report when Zack did his stupid stunt with his Zord, tracked down the location of Zordon's ship, and just gathered info as the Rangers left the ship. I easily see her watching all 5 of them during the campfire. She has to know the location of it, because when the Rangers jump out of the water, putties are greeting them right there. This also fits into how she acts in the show. She did the same thing with Zed. You need to screw with people, manipulate them somehow. Since Trini was the weak link, Rita went after her, hoping she turned to. It would have made her job easier. Either way, she was playing everyone. The biggest fault in the film is the ground fight. The first part of the movie focuses on the origin story, and the ending of the film is solely about the Zords. The ground combat totally failed. It was about maybe 2 minutes, so we got almost nothing to see of the Rangers in action. It was annoying, and I was upset, but I understand why it happened. The movie is 2 hours long as it is. It has to tell the origin story of 7 characters. I've seen other people compare it to Spider-Man, and they're like, well, why couldn't they just do it that way? Spider-Man is only one character. He has supporting characters, yes, but they're not the focus. The PR movie has 5 characters that they all need backstory. Something has to go. They could have cut 10 minutes in the origin story or in the Zord fight, and they did. 30 minutes of finished material was cut out, finished visual effects too, and still the movie was 2 hours. I'm not forgiving the ground fight being short. It should have been longer. I get why it happened, but what could they have cut in the origin story? All I could really think of was the time they took to find Zordon's ship, the swimming part. That's a few minutes at best. Anything else would have ruined scenes. The PR movie was just too packed with stuff. Again, if we get a sequel, this will be rectified. I have to also talk about some complaints that people said about the movie. First, being too much teen drama. I don't think so. Everyone has flaws and everyone has to deal with some sort of nonsense in school. If everyone was like MMPR from the show, people would complain about that. The drama was needed to bring a lot of the characters together. Jason would not normally know Billy. Trini was avoiding everyone because of her issues. It would have been unnatural for a lot of them just to be friends out of nowhere. So they just had everyone in detention. Dino Thunder did the same thing. It's the most logical choice. A second big one was that people saw the movie as afraid of Power Ranger elements. I don't even understand that one. The movie opens with Zordon and Rita in the costumes. Then only around 30 minutes of the film is about the characters' regular lives. The moment they find the coins, the movie switches to PR. Do these people only count the actual suits and Zords as the only elements? What about the coins? Zordon, Alpha, the fight training, the terminology. Yeah, the film poked fun at the names and all the crazy nonsense, but that's what a superhero movie is about. Things that are impossible to actually do in real life. Other hero films didn't have much of them being a hero. Incredible Hulk is a good example. Hulk is seen in only 2 fights. Bruce is used for the majority of the film. Would you count that as not being a Hulk movie? You could be disappointed that the movie didn't have a lot of action, but it definitely is a Power Rangers movie. People also say it wasn't Power Rangers because it was too dark. It's not dark, it's more realistic. Things have repercussions, people get killed, it's PG-13 for a reason. It's trying to be as close to real life as possible with the fantastical elements. The show can be looked at as dark too, if you view it closer. The Rangers are killing monsters, they blow up from the inside, people do die. They just die off camera or it's not mentioned. It does happen, there's just no sugarcoating like in a Y7 show. The last common complaint I see is that Rita didn't fight the Rangers herself. I could understand why people wouldn't like that, but if they did do it, that's a violation of the character. She's a sorceress. Rita has always made other people do her dirty work. That's who she is. If they made her fight the Rangers, then the putties wouldn't be all that useful. That's why she tried to get Trini to work with her, and technically she did. Rita did merge with Goldar, so she was fighting the Megazord. I get why people would want that. We saw her in the Green Ranger outfit at the start. It feels like a waste, but I think they made the right call. For the home movie release, you have multiple options. The standard Blu-ray comes with the movie on Blu-ray and the second disc is the DVD. It has a 2-hour documentary from inception to release, outtakes, deleted scenes, which solve some of the issues like what happened to Billy's van, the first cameo, extended scenes, but there's 2 deleted scenes that aren't here that were in the trailer, Zach jumping over his house and Zach's train ride. If you love commentaries, Dean Israelite does a whole bunch, commentary on the movie, commentary on deleted scenes, and the teaser trailer. One thing that was dumb, the trailer only has the commentary audio. They didn't include the audio from the trailer on a separate track, so you're stuck with the commentary only. If you buy the DVD version, it doesn't have the documentaries. It only has the commentary, deleted scenes, and outtakes. Of course, all the various places you can buy it digitally. Best Buy, Target, and Walmart got exclusive versions. Best Buy comes in a steelbook with some postcards. Target comes in a different steelbook with a shrunk down version of the graphic novel. The 4K release comes with the movie and the Blu-ray, the bonus features being only on the Blu-ray disc. And lastly, the Walmart version, no steelbook, different artwork, and an exclusive bonus disc with 30 minutes of money-hatted bonus features. I don't support stores that screw over bonus features. Everyone should have the same content on disc and online. My final score for the film is a 4 out of 5. I think they handled the source material well, did the characters justice, respected as much as the MMPR as they could. I don't agree with everything, but that doesn't make me not want to watch the movie. Expanding on the backstory of Rita and Zordon was one of the best things they could have done. That was a huge blank area in MMPR. It loses a perfect score mainly from the lack of Ranger ground fighting. This is a key component to the series. It can't be missing from the movie. The Zord stuff is important too, but it can't replace it. I hope we get a sequel. Not that many remakes get it right. Power Rangers deserve more, and we finally got it. I say give it a chance if you were on the fence. Watch it at least once, then judge it there. Don't judge it from what you remember from the show.